Hey everybody, Brian Boyle here, and welcome to episode 24 of The Mesh Tongue. So, appreciate all the comments and the questions coming in. Keep those coming in. Brian at company5, the number 5k.com. Got my Salt Lake Golden Eagles hockey t-shirt on, just representing some old school hockey from the area. But today I want to talk to you about hot and cold, and what is the main reason why you would use heat versus ice. I get this question quite a few times. Lots of people question, why would I use ice, or can I use heat for an injury? This is primarily after an injury, and I'm going to tell you that I'm probably a little different than most people. So most people say, oh, you got to go the first 72 hours after an injury with ice. You've got to compress it, the old RICE therapy, rest, ice, compression, elevation. I'd say if there is swelling and or bruising, and or one of those things where there's going to be swelling and bruising, that's not a bad opportunity to use the RICE method or the ice in the first 72 hours. But the reality of it is that quite oftentimes you'll wake up with an ache or a pain. Maybe it's a strain that you developed from overuse that may not have any outward signs of swelling and or black and blue marks, okay? And so the reality of it is that you would want to use heat, maybe. And again, you could probably go with any of the number of reasons why that you say, well, I did this and whatever. But the reality of it is, here you go. If you are a cold person normally and you put ice on and it makes you feel worse, why would you do it? No idea, right? If you like heat, get in a hot tub, get in the jacuzzi, got the jets going on you, and you feel fantastic, then I say use heat, even if it's within the first 72 hours. If you're one of those people that say, I'm always hot, I'm just always feel like I'm burning up, ice always makes me feel better, numbs it up, then use the ice. Now, if the whole goal for you is to feel better, okay, and you feel worse after doing something, what's the point? You could have just stayed with what you had going on. All right, so the reality of it is that when we say, hey, you should use ice versus heat, it's going to come down to individual preference. It's going to come down to what makes you feel better. If you're looking for pain relief and the heat makes you feel better, guess what? I would say use the heat. All right. Now, again, with all of these, you don't want to go more than 15 to 20 minutes. So the reason why is you'll have the reverse effect. So if you're using ice, after about 25 minutes, your body starts to bring blood back. All right, so the ice would push the blood away. After 25 minutes, the blood starts pulling back into that body part to try and stop any sort of cellular death. Same thing with the heat. Okay, if heat after 20-25 minutes, your body's going to start sweating. It's going to start cooling off, trying to push the blood flow away. So if your goal was to heat tissues or to ice something, okay, after about 25 minutes, the reverse happens. That's physiologically going to happen through your body. You have no control over that, okay, other than taking the ice off or the heat off. So 15-20 minutes at most. You can do that every single hour, on the hour if you wanted to, okay. Make sure if you're using some sort of source of heat that it's not too hot. You can certainly burn yourself with a heating pad. So, use low to medium, some toweling if all you have is a, one-time or one switch heating pad that you'd be using. If you're using sort of heat packs that you heat up in the microwave, again, test that out. See, you'd always better off starting with more towels or something over it and pulling it off rather than having the heat source directly on. If you're using ice, and I'll show you in a couple more videos here probably, I'll show you how to make an ice massage cup at the house. When you have something like an ice pack or an ice cup, you can massage the area with ice directly on the skin, because as the water melts, what's going to end up happening is you're going to create a buffer for that ice against the skin, so it will preserve the skin. The downside if you're using a chemical pack is that there is no buffer, there is no water moisture, so you have to put a towel or something over that to prevent you from getting a frostbite. But other than that, hey, use the heat, use the ice. They're beautiful things because of the fact that you have them. They're inexpensive to get. They're wonderful to calm muscle spasms down, reduce pain, any number of things. But I always say just use what you feel best with. So if somebody says, oh, you got to use ice, and you start using the ice and it feels terrible, try the heat. Okay, irregardless of the first 72 hours or some arbitrary number that we've made up. And again, if you use heat and it makes you feel worse, use the ice. My name is Brian Boyle. This is runpainless.com, the Mesh Tongue, episode 24. please continue to share this with your friends, family, your training partners. I appreciate the love. Leave your comments below. How do you ice or heat? Do you have a favorite hot pack or a favorite ice source that you use? Again, let me know out there, and send me those emails. Keep them coming. Share this with your friends, family, your training partners. But whatever you do, don't go hurting yourself to come back and check us out. All right, thanks. Have a great day.